Hello there, I'm Miss Becky from Virginia Beach Public Library, here to show you another Finger Gym to Go program. I hope you picked up your kits from Central Library. It should look like this. It might be green or blue, doesn't matter, they're the same. Let's get started. Today we're going to have fun with dogs. You're going to make a hand puppet out of a small paper bag, just perfect for smaller hands. And you're going to make a stuffed bone. This is really cool. So inside your kit, you should have all the pieces for these two activities. Very carefully pull out the things in your kit. You should have a small paper bag with construction paper pieces in different colors. You should have, that's just for the puppet activity. For the bone activity, you should have burlap cut into bone shapes. There's actually 2 of them. So do your best to keep them stuck together, kind of just hold them together. Attached should be a long piece of yarn with a very, of course I have the same color, purple plastic sewing needle. And you should have an extra piece of yarn in another color and some stuffing for your bone. This is polyester fiberfill. Very squishy. And you should have one more thing. You should have a copy of our rhyme. Our rhyme is actually a game today, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that too. Adults, these activities are designed to give your children a chance to practice really important fine motor skills. Some of them will be easier than other activities. The most important thing that you can do for your children is to encourage them. Help them when they need it, but then step back a little bit and let them try. Try and failing, believe it or not, those are really good skills to learn. Step in if they need to be shown how to do it again, and then step back a little bit and see if they can do it on their own. Support them, of course. Give them positive feedback. They need to be able to figure things out with your support, of course. So these particular activities will help your children learn and practice pinching small objects and manipulating them, like the needle. Eye-hand coordination, like the sewing, like gluing the pieces on here. Manipulating small objects with both hands, which is different from one hand, like holding the bone and sewing, holding the bone and stuffing it, and also using glue, whether you're using squeeze bottles or glue sticks for coloring. There's really good practice for using those finger muscles. Okay, let's get started with our hand puppet, our paper bag puppet. I use smaller paper bags this time, so we can fit those small hands in there. You want to hold your paper bag like this before you start gluing anything on it, because this is where your hand goes. And we really want to be careful not to put any glue underneath here, or your dog won't be able to move its mouth. Find your small brown bag and your construction paper. I have 1 circle in here for the face, and the rest is up to you to make. You will need glue, whether it's a glue stick or glue bottle. You may want a pair of scissors or ask somebody to help you with that. And you might want crayons too. For my example, I made it look like my dog, and I used crayon to color the tongue pink and to shade the colors of her fur on her face and on her body. So think about how you want yours to look. So this is the time where you really have to think about what you want your dog to look like. You're going to have these colors. I'll stick some yellow paper in there as well, so you should have some yellow. But you have a lot of black, brown, kind of natural dog colors. And think, how can I use these colors? How can I use these colors maybe with some crayons to make a dog that looks like I want it to look? I'm going to set him aside for a minute. You know that the circle is going to be his face or her face. If you don't like the brown face, you can make another circle out of one of the other colors, or maybe another color you have at home. I would just trace it onto a piece of paper so that you kind of can just cut it out like that. You can trace it like that better than I'm doing right now. Hold that down tight, and then once you have it, you can cut it out, or you can use the one I gave you. If you want the pink tongue, like my dog, all I did was take some lighter colored paper, and I cut it out. I didn't even draw it, but you can draw it first if you want to. Just kind of did like a little funny shape, and I colored it pink and glued it on there. So if that were pink, I think it would look like a dog tongue. The eyes are just circles. If you want to trace a small circle, this glue stick actually looks like a really good circle to trace. Something a little bit bigger if you want. You can trace that. Look around you, look around your house, look at the things that you can trace. I have this bucket, could trace that. That's actually about the same size as the head. That might actually be easier to trace than the paper circle I'm going to give you. Look around you, see what you want to do. And once you have all your pieces, even if you haven't decided your ears yet, you can get started. Glue on your pieces. Remember I said before, don't put any glue underneath. That's going to stick out. I'm going to glue my tongue, but I'm not going to put very much glue on there. And I'm going to make sure that it doesn't stick between here. I'm just going to color over the bottom flap. Doesn't have to be cute because nobody's going to see it. And there's my head. Now I can start thinking, how do I want my ears to look? Do you want your ears to be the same color as the face? Do you want them to be white or black or yellow or light brown? It's up to you. I am going to, for this one, going to use my brown paper and just cut some triangles. One triangle, two triangle. One triangle, two triangle. Didn't even have to draw it. So you can just aim and shoot and try it again. I think that looks like a dog. If you cut out circles for eyes and a nose and had your pink tongue sticking out, and I can even flip that up just a smidgen so you can see it. I think that looks like a dog. And I might color a white chest on my dog. Color some white on his ears if I want. For that matter, I can color the eyes on too. I think he looks like a little Frenchie. Yeah, that works too. Looks a little crazy without all this parts, but there we go. Looks a bit better. I think he'll look more like a dog if we have a nose and the tongue hanging out. I glued on this one a little bit of a chin or bottom jaw, but like I said, make sure there's no glue sticking out. I want to see what you guys make. I want to see what your creations look like. So please take pictures of them and share them on our Instagram and Facebook page. Go ahead, have fun with that. All right, it's time to make our cute little stuffed bone. As you can see, this is the burlap, and I sewed all the way around the edges, and then I added just a cute little shape, which you can do whatever you want. I kind of thought a name of a dog would be cute, or a letter, an initial. That's up to you. So when you pull out your kit, you've already pulled out your kit actually, I want you to find your bone, keeping those together. Pull aside that extra piece of yarn that does not have the needle or the bone attached to it. That's for later. And set aside your stuffing. Okay, so for your burlap, lay it down very gently. Make sure they're lined up. Your two pieces are lined up. They're not sticking out, overlapping like that too much. You should have one end of the yarn tied here, and then your needle at the other end. And there's a couple different ways you can make your threads. This one is called a whip stitch, where I take it and I take the needle and I put it under, like maybe a 1/2 inch or so, like a fingertip. I have big fat fingers. one Miss Becky finger size away from the knot and very carefully pull it through. The biggest problem that I had, and you might have with this burlap too, is that it's a very loose weave, and this stuff comes apart really easily and unravels. See, I can just pull it off like that. And we don't really want that to do that. We want it to be able to hold the stuffing. So you're going to put the needle in pretty far in. You don't want to get right up to the edge, because look, if I do that, it comes right off. I don't want to make that worse. So I'm going to go pretty far in and pull it around. So if I always start at the bottom, always come out at the top, and keep going, it starts to look like this. And that is called a whip stitch, because it's whipping around. I like that one for this activity, but there's other ways to do it. You could also keep going in like an up and down, like the sewing machine does, in the top. Oops, sorry, I'm not showing it very well. Up from the bottom. This might hold it better without tearing off. I don't know. I think that's a good experiment to try. And just very gently pull it through. Not too tight, but not too loose. And just make your way around the curves. It's kind of fun to have the two different ones on there. See how I have to line it up sometimes because it moves around. You just have to be very careful but gentle with the one hand that's holding it. And if you need to have somebody help you hold the burlap, that's okay. Not everybody can do it right away. It takes practice. And I've been doing this since I was a little kid. I've had a lot of years of practice. If you're just starting, then you're not going to have an easy as of a time, but you keep practicing and you'll get it. Just not yet, and that's okay. Hoping I will have enough yarn left over to finish it. So far, so good. All right, we're getting to the end. When you start seeing the other end, you want to make sure that you leave a hand's width of a hole big enough to put your hand in without stretching it. I have big hands. Your hands are a little bit smaller, but if you have somebody that has bigger hands helping you, you might want to leave it open. I'm going to leave mine like this and then get my stuffing. So in this bag you have your stuffing. Go ahead and pull it out of the bag. This might be too much. I don't think you have to worry about not having enough. I think it's going to fill no matter what. You kind of feel it. It feels really kind of slippery, I guess. And it comes apart in easy little piles. You're going to take little bits at a time and very carefully so you don't pull and unravel the burlap. You're going to push it inside the bone. So take apart the two pieces of burlap. See that opening? That's where you're going to stuff your bone. And I think you kids with smaller hands are going to have an easier time. I'm going to just stick my hand down in there and push it till it gets to the other end. If you can bend it and squish it and push it down into the corners like that. Works out great. Long fingers are good for this. There's another piece. I'm going to push it down to the other end, or the other corner of that end. Push, 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 push. See, that end looks pretty full. That's pretty good. I'm going to start filling up the center. Squishy, not squishy. Now this is going to be shoved in, stuffed in, pushed in. See, it's already coming unraveled. We're going to have to go over this part when I finish, which is okay. Kind of expect it. A little bit in this end. I'm going to hold it shut. I'm going to go back to a whip stitch. I'm doing this back. I don't know what this one is called. I don't remember. Start closing this up. I might want to add a little bit more before I finally close it up for good. See, it's all coming apart. I'm going to be very careful, line them up, and put my needle pretty far in from the edge, because it's going to come unraveled. By the way, I want to say this is important. This is not an actual dog toy. If your dog chews things up and eats them, don't give it to your dog. My dog would eat this, and that would make her very sick. Some dogs eat their chew toys, some dogs don't. It's not a dog toy. It's not meant for that. All right, I'm going to take a break here and stuff some more fiber fill in. Ooh, it's starting to look kind of plump. Isn't that cute? This is where it takes some coordination. Pinch and hold with one hand, and sew with the other. Takes practice. If you can't do this all in one sitting, put it down, take a break, come back to it later that day or even the next day. That's kind of what sewing is like. It's hard to finish it in one sitting unless you're really on a roll. All right, here's my hole. And patch this up. And that really is coming apart. So, guess what? I'm going to change my stitch. Maybe this will help. This is tricky. If you are doing and practicing the stitches, keep going. You're doing a really good job. You're going to want to tie the end off. I'm going to just put a bunch here. Like kind of like a big blockade. No more tearing the burlap. And then I'm going to tie a knot. That's it. And if you want, you can decorate it, put a heart. Just do it freehand or have somebody draw on here with a white crayon, or even a Sharpie will work. And you can sew over the letters or picture, whatever it is that you have in there. Good job. Was that fun? Okay, so our last activity is a really fun way to play with your finished bone. You can also use some other toy or stuffed animal instead. I'm going to read through our rhyme first, and then we're going to do it together. And listen for the words, because I'm going to change one at the very end. Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to fetch the poor dog a bone. When she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor dog had none. She didn't see the bone. So this part of the activity is your adult or older children, brothers, sisters, take turns. You're going to hide the bone somewhere. Okay, and you're going to look for it as you say the rhyme. Ready? Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to fetch her poor dog a bone. When she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor dog had none. Where are you going to look? Old Mother Hubbard went to the TV. Are you going to find it there? If you do find it, you're going to say, went to the TV, the bone was right there, and so the good dog had won. If you don't find it at the TV, you just got to keep going until you find it. Old Mother Hubbard went to the wastebasket. Is it there? No. Old Mother Hubbard went to the closet. Is it there? Yes. Old Mother Hubbard went to the closet. The bone was right there. And so the good dog had won. So I hope you had fun making your dog puppet and your dog bone. Save your plastic sewing needle. You can see what else you can make with that. It's great for sewing burlap or felt or those little plastic mesh things that you can do embroidery on. It'll be great for a lot of those things. Keep an eye out for our next Finger Gym program. Don't forget to share your creations on VBPL's Instagram and Facebook pages. We would love to see your dog puppets and your bones. Thank you. Bye.